The beast woman goes completely berserk against the men of the Black Blades, slaughtering several of them in an instant. She drives her sharp claws deep into the eyes of one unfortunate enemy. Suddenly, another Black Blade soldier rushes in from behind, screaming that she is a treacherous bastard as he launches a deadly attack from her blind spot. Using the man whose face she had just clawed as a stepping stone, the beast woman leaps into the air at the very last second, effortlessly avoiding the strike. While still airborne, she drives a brutal knee straight into her attacker's face, sending him crashing to the ground with blood spraying from his nose. Watching the entire spectacle while cutting down enemies of his own, Rim is left dumbfounded. "What the hell was that?" he shouts. He loudly complains that she is stealing all his prey and says she cannot just go around smashing everyone's heads open. Incred witnesses the display as well. After carving through a massive wave of enemies, the beast woman finally stops to catch her breath, panting heavily from exhaustion. As she stands hunched over and gasping for air, Incred approaches her. Noticing his presence, she slowly raises her eyes to meet his gaze. Looking down at her, Incred asks what she intends to do next. She replies that even if she runs away, she has nowhere left to return to. Looking him straight in the eyes, she begs him to accept her as one of his subordinates. After several tense seconds of silence, Incred finally answers. He tells her that he will. Privately, he reflects that ever since he pulled this beast woman out of prison, the right to decide her fate has belonged to him alone. Besides, the company is currently short on manpower, making the arrangement rather convenient. As he looks down at her, another thought crosses his mind. Seeing the beast girl's golden eyes reminds him of a legend among the beast men regarding those who possess them. Still unable to believe what she has heard, yet overwhelmed with joy, she stammers and asks if he is really accepting her. Incred completely ignores the question and concludes that it probably is not important anyway. Rim then chimes in, asking if this creature is really their newest recruit. Ragna groans and mutters that he hates it when they shed everywhere. Offended, the beast woman immediately snaps back, warning them not to treat her like an animal. She proudly introduces herself. "My name is Dunbatchel. Call me by my proper name." At last, her true name is revealed. Incred cuts the conversation short and tells Dunbatchel that it is time to head back. Hearing those words, Dunbatchel realizes that she finally has someone she can return with. Tears of joy well up in her eyes as she understands that she now has a pack. Some time later, Dunbatchel can be seen pulling the heavy carriage herself in place of the horses, straining under the enormous weight with her superhuman strength. Meanwhile, the rest of the crew relaxes comfortably inside the carriage. Rim relentlessly bullies her from within, shouting that even a slug could move faster than she does. He asks if she plans on sleeping on the road and orders her to run until her legs become a blur. Struggling beneath the burden, Dunbatchel cries out in frustration and asks why she has to be the one pulling the carriage in the first place. Rim casually explains that after collecting all of the loot, the carriage became far too heavy for ordinary horses. Dunbatchel immediately protests, saying that his explanation still does not answer why she has to do all the work. Rim bluntly responds that they simply have nothing else capable of replacing the horses. Completely demoralized by the hazing, Dunbatchel laments that they are treating her like a beast all over again. Watching the chaotic scene unfold, Incred reflects that Rim had secretly been disappointed after Andrew left the company. At first, he had been worried about Dunbatchel since she and Rim had originally met as enemies. However, seeing how naturally Rim interacted with her now, Incred felt reassured that she would fit in perfectly with the rest of the company. Satisfied, Incred closes his eyes and decides to get some rest, joining Ragna, who has already been asleep for quite some time. Noticing this, Rim immediately barks at Incred, asking if he is seriously planning to sleep right now and complaining that he has things far too easy. Under the pale light of the full moon, Dunbatchel pours every ounce of strength into hauling the massive carriage. As she struggles onward through the night, she quietly wonders whether choosing to stay with them was truly the right decision. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the region, an army marches through the darkness. Massive siege engines, including catapults, are transported alongside the advancing soldiers. The focus then shifts to Commander Marcus, who receives an urgent report that Marty has officially begun its advance. Calmly assessing the situation, Marcus notes that the enemy will arrive in 5 days. Within that time, they will reach the border guard's front lines and begin their siege. Without hesitation, he orders all civilians living outside the walls to be brought inside the fortress for protection. The following day, crowds of citizens and their children stream through the city gates as the evacuation begins ahead of schedule. At that exact moment, Incred and his men finally return. The moment they arrive, Dunbachel collapses onto the ground, completely exhausted after pulling the heavy carriage throughout the entire night. Having just awakened from his peaceful slumber, Ragna surveys the commotion and wonders aloud why there are so many people everywhere. As the group steps out of the carriage, Cry and Pin approach them. Cry explains that the citizens are evacuating early because of the approaching territorial war. Delighted to see them again, he enthusiastically greets Incred and exclaims that the captain has finally returned. Suddenly, a terrible odor reaches Cry's nose, causing him to recoil in disgust. The smell is coming directly from Dunbachel. Covering his nose, Cry complains that she absolutely reeks. Even Incred pinches his nose in agreement, remarking that she never looked particularly clean to begin with, but after sweating so much, the smell has become overwhelming. Turning toward Pin, he instructs her to take the beast girl away and get her cleaned up. Pin glances back at him and asks whether they even have any spare clothes that would fit her. Incred then orders the rest of the company to sort through the spoils they gathered and head inside, while he reports to the battalion commander. However, before he can finish speaking, Shinar suddenly steps forward and interrupts him. She informs him that he can give his report during the upcoming strategy meeting, adding that all officers are required to attend. Fixing her gaze on him, she welcomes him back and affectionately calls him her fiancé. Incred questions her reasoning, asking whether the commander of a company with fewer than 10 members can really be considered an officer. Shinar dismisses his doubts, insisting that the importance of a unit cannot be measured by numbers alone. She then teasingly points out that he has been so busy playing around with his company that he has completely neglected his lover. Looking him directly in the eyes, she tells him that she waited for him night after night and demands to know when he plans on visiting her. Smoothly avoiding the romantic tension, Incred suggests that they schedule another sparring match instead. Shinar smiles warmly and remarks that her fiancé truly knows nothing but training. Nevertheless, she promises that she will look forward to it. Incred is left completely caught off guard by her enthusiastic response. The scene then shifts to the commander's headquarters, where an important military conference is already underway. The same gathering of nobles from the previous meeting is present. Opening the discussion, the battalion commander explains that, following Vice Baron Van Shinto's original proposal, a delegation had been sent to investigate the Black Blades after agreeing to cooperate with them. As a result, the border guard was officially tasked with carrying out the investigation. The captain rises and delivers his report, revealing that the Black Blades had secretly been preparing an all-out assault against the border guard. Because of this discovery, the alliance was immediately abandoned, and they instead launched an operation to purge the Black Blades' headquarters. However, he admits that several survivors managed to escape during the chaos. At that moment, Incred casually interrupts and announces that his squad already dealt with the remaining fugitives. The captain freezes in surprise, realizing that the escaping remnants must have fled directly toward Incred's group. The battalion commander quickly connects the dots and remarks that he now understands what happened. According to his conclusion, Vice Baron Van Shinto lost his life because those fleeing remnants launched an ambush while attempting to escape. For a brief moment, Incred is puzzled by the explanation, knowing full well that it was actually Rim who killed Van Shinto. After a short pause, however, he simply goes along with the story and confirms that the remnants appeared to have targeted Van Shinto from the very beginning. The commander immediately expresses his outrage, declaring that attacking a noble of the border guard is an unforgivable act. Placing his hand over his heart, he solemnly proclaims that Van Shinto was a man who truly loved the border guard. He then asks everyone present to observe a moment of silence for the late Vice Baron Van Shinto. Yet everyone in the room understands the truth. Watching the performance unfold, Incred realizes that no one present is fooled by the exaggerated display. The border guard is a city surrounded by enemies, and everyone knows that this public mourning serves another purpose entirely. Vanchinto's death is a warning. Those consumed by greed will ultimately perish because of it. At this very moment, the battalion commander is making his intentions clear to everyone present. He is willing to do whatever is necessary to protect the border guard. A memory flashes through Incred's mind. He recalls the commander once telling him that he wanted him to love this city. Reflecting on those words, Incred thinks about how knights stand like towering walls that ordinary people can never hope to overcome. Returning to the present, the commander begins discussing Marty. He explains that the city inherited the bloodline of the mercenary king of the East and possesses tremendous military power. If they have also secured support from powerful outside forces, then predicting the outcome of the coming war becomes nearly impossible. Silently, Incred calculates the odds and concludes that their chances of reaching the end are less than 1 in 10,000. The commander continues his speech, explaining that modern warfare is often decided by small elite units led by a single extraordinary knight. Hearing those words, Incred's thoughts drift toward his own dream. Even if his talent is mediocre, even if that dream has been trampled through the mud and shattered countless times, he still refuses to give up. As the speech reaches its climax, the commander announces that there is currently one company within the border guard that possesses the greatest potential as a small elite force. The moment those words leave his mouth, every eye in the chamber turns toward Incred. Looking directly at him, the commander asks what the commander of the lunatic company intends to do. Within his heart, Incred steels his resolve. He vows to become the knight who will bring this war to an end. Out loud, he calmly answers that he will do everything within his power. The commander smiles. Officially granting the lunatic company independent operational authority, he tells Incred to go as wild as he pleases. With the order given, the entire company prepares for action. Rem, Saxon, Odin, Ragna, Pin, Cry, Esther, and their newest powerhouse recruit, Dunbachel. Outside, Incred waits for his companions with a serious expression on his face. Looking over his elite squad, he gives the order. The lunatic company rides out once again. And with that, Season 1 comes to an end. The author has announced a short hiatus in order to reorganize and return with an even better story. The series is currently scheduled to return during the second half of 2026.